Yeah, I'm good.
All right. So remember, Jay, just start talking when the music lowers in volume, at, which I always do at the same spot in the song, or try to anyway. All right. Starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the RPG After Years, your weekly show covering all things RPGs, past, present, and future. I'm Jay.
And I'm Rich.
And I'm Scott.
This is episode 7. So this time we are going to be covering the last half of the Witcher TV series. But before we finish that up, what have you guys been up to this week, Rich?
Well, I have played a tiny bit of Grandia 2, just a tiny bit, because I know Scott wants me to slow down.
I've got my eye on you. I'm checking your Switch playlist on the friend list thing.
Is there a way to like take your Switch and like go into invisible mode or something? But yeah, so I played a little bit of that. I think I'm at the part where I just took out the claws of Velmar.
Who is the claws?
Well, like there's body parts.
Santa.
Yeah, Santa.
Sandy.
Well, I remember that different people turn into the evil parts of Valmar, but I don't remember who ended up being the claws.
But I can't tell you that.
Okay.
You got to find out. Yeah. You know, when you play the game.
Yeah, I'll be reminded. I remember most of them, but
yeah, the claw. Sorry.
the long claw of the law.
Yep, that's right. So there's that. And then I started a new game. Pillars of Dust. That's the surprise thing that we have for everybody in store the next couple weeks.
So you've already started it?
Yes, I've started it, but that's all I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
So
we've got a note here later, I think.
Yep.
All right. Well, as for me, I've once again been playing a little bit of everything. So I've been playing Smash Bros. Ultimate again. The thing about that game is it has this like thing called challenges. It's almost like trophies where you have to like fulfill certain conditions to unlock them. And and it's split into categories. There's like the adventure mode and like regular Smash mode. And the thing is, there is an online category, and I don't play online because I'm good, but not play online good. So I've been playing a lot of online matches trying to get those challenges and getting my ass kicked like 9 times out of 10. But the problem is one of those is you have to defeat at least 50 people. So I think I've got like 6 so far out of all the matches I've played. It's not going good, but I must do it.
Smash Brothers is hard. I've played it like 2 times on the Switch at least, and I love Smash, good at it.
And I can usually like beat my friends, but the people that are playing online, I think that's just like all they do or what they do for fun. It's like, Jesus.
Have I told you guys about my my experience playing as Lucario in one of the space arenas?
I don't think so.
It's a nightmare because it's all very like the arena itself is very blue. I just remember there being a bunch of blue. And so my eyes could never keep track of where Lucario was. So I was just like, I could never tell where I actually was. It was a nightmare.
It can get chaotic for sure.
I'm pretty good with Kirby though. Kirby's pretty dope.
Yeah. You can also like play with one of your friends online, like do a team match against other people playing online. And so Corey jumped in with me one day and we played about 4 or 5 before he was like pissed beyond all belief.
I will probably be getting it I don't know, within the next couple weeks.
Maybe we can. You'll be one Smash tag I can get.
If Jay ends up getting it, I'll have to get it too.
It'd be fun to play online against each other.
Yeah, it would.
We
Are you
would
able to
just-
talk with each other? Does the Switch do that?
I think
Or
so.
would we have to like Discord it up?
You could Discord, and they have their own Switch online app, but it's through your phone, so it's like you might as well do
Yeah.
any other way. Stupid. Nintendo's always like 10 steps behind on when it comes to online, or 10 years behind. I also finally got back into Grandia. Picked up my file from like 3 or 4 months ago where I was trying to keep up with you guys.
So behind.
I just got onto the Grandia, which is that airship that you have to fly the manta ray up to on. And that manta ray comes out of like nowhere.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh, this is happening now.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah. According to the guide I'm sort of following, I'm like 80% through the game. So
Nice.
I should be able to finish it up pretty soon. And then we can talk about it on the show if we ever
Nice.
get there. Other than that, been playing more Mario Galaxy. Corey's got like 80 something stars. So that one's getting pretty close too. Still been doing Ring Fit Adventure for my cardio. I'm probably going to have a session after this.
Did you guys see that China is like run out of Ring Fit Adventures
Oh, really?
because of the quarantine? So they need their exercise, so that's what it's
What if-
sold out really well over
What
there.
if the Chinese quarantine ends and then like all the Chinese people like come out of their rooms just like jacked beyond all belief?
That's what's gonna happen in Italy, probably.
No, most of Italy's old people, so Italy's gonna be
That's
about
true.
half the size in the next 6 months.
Yes. Still playing Breath of the Wild with my buddy. He's just going around Hyrule, fucking shit up
Nice.
as you do in Zelda. And then we also got back into the Crash Bandicoot remake last night that we dropped a long time ago. We're trying to like clean up games that we abandoned. That way that we have less of a backlog. Guys, Crash Bandicoot, the first one, is hard as shit. Like I can't believe how hard it is. It's like no wonder I never finished this as a kid.
I remember I don't remember the last time I played it with intentions of actually wanting to play it, but the last time I played it as a kind of a throwback, I remember being like, this is ridiculous. This is not fun.
Yeah, it's like, very specific, like pinpoint jumps you have to make in some of the levels. It's just like,
Yeah, some of those platformers are like that.
yeah,
It's like that's why I couldn't finish Alondra, because it was just a damn platformer too.
is there that much platforming in there?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Dang, I thought it was supposed to be like Zelda, which has 0 platforming.
No, it's nightmare.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's all I've been playing. What about you, Joseph?
I have not done much. I've had a pretty busy week with work-related stuff. I've only played the normal 2 Tales game, Berseria and The Abyss. I'm totally stuck on Tales of the Abyss. I have there's a boss fight that I'm just not winning at. I'm kind of stuck to where I can't leave to go buy more potions, and I get the boss down to like 5,000 HP out of like 35,000 or something, and I just am out of potions, and then my one healer dies, and I'm done for. So it's
Oh,
been kind
man.
of I've tried a couple times, and I'm thinking I'm just gonna have to walk back and forth and grind to get my people to be a little more
Do you have like
powerful.
an earlier save file?
I don't. I do not. I'm a single save file kind of guy, unfortunately.
Yeah, I usually am too. I've tried
Same
to learn
here.
over the years, but it never works.
I haven't really played a lot of Tales of Berseria. I've pretty much just been letting Gracie play. She just likes to dress the characters up and walk around and fight demons and but outside of that, I did start a new anime, which is okay. It's pretty good. It's called Sorceress Stabber Orphan. It's got the craziest name, but it's kind of a typical magic, dragons, people fighting kind of
I
deal.
don't think I've heard of that one.
Yeah, it's kind of new. I got like 4 episodes in, and then it just randomly switched to being the subbed version instead of the dubbed version. So
That's weird.
well, it's because it's apparently newer. I didn't realize how new it was. I thought I was gonna have like a whole season to binge, and I was like, nope.
Nope.
So do you always watch dubbed?
Yeah, unless it's something very specific, mainly because I don't have the attention span to sit there and to
Read.
watch and read and not do other things while I'm
Read good.
I know read
No,
good or fast
I
or
can't watch
pay
sub
attention.
stuff typically either. Like I always watch with subtitles no matter what it is. I'm one of those people. But unless it's just like really, really good, I don't want to watch something in another language.
I also don't like. I'm usually multitasking whenever I'm doing anything. And specifically this last week, I was asked to make like a prototype software for one of the companies that I do side stuff for. So I've just been like cranking that out
Crunching.
while watching stuff.
Yeah.
So
just there's a
usually-
lot of people that are into anime are like super purists, like subs only, dub is sinful and shit like that.
I'm not a purist.
Good man.
I'm a cash, I guess. But yeah, hopefully that prototype I'm making will fund me some Super Smash Brothers and also allow me to jump into these sweet low stock prices. But,
yeah, good idea. I'm trying
yeah.
not to look. I know I've probably lost thousands.
Oh yeah, do not
Yeah.
look.
Yeah,
It's very, very upsetting. But the Caribbean cruise stock's down like 75%. So like, I mean, if you got 100K to drop in, buy there, and then I don't know, you might have 200K next summer. So
yeah, it's like a going out of business sale.
But the airline prices and everything are so low. We can all do a trip.
I'm
Like
thinking
$20.
about going ahead and booking my wedding cruise because I think I might get a huge discount if I do it now.
you probably
Yeah,
would.
Yeah, you might need to do that.
Yeah.
And it's not like you're gonna get the corona and die. You're
Yeah.
quite young,
Young and healthy. Sort
young
of.
and healthy, younger and healthy.
I turned 30 this year, so I'm probably just gonna like instantly pass away when that happens.
That's the threshold. When you turn 30, you either die or you live. That's
I'm gonna go shopping later.
I survived. I was sad the entire day, but yeah, you're just sad.
Actually, I had a coworker. She went on a cruise. She left Thursday, and Carnival paid her. They gave her $200 to not cancel, and they upgraded her room to a suite for free.
She's probably by herself on the ship.
Yeah, that would be nice. Actually,
oh my God.
Maybe I'll just go on one next week. Anyway,
yeah, it would be sweet.
Is that it for you, Jay?
That's it for me.
All right.
Alrighty, Rich, tell us about those sweet Patreons.
Oh man, the benefits we have for Patreon is early episode access, ad-free. You get to participate in the live stream video version. We actually do that right now. Anime Corner, which will be eventually happening. I do like that. The Aftercast, we had our first episode a couple weeks ago on the Aftercast. Looking forward to doing the next episode of that here.
Yeah, we'll need to record another one in the next couple of weeks.
It was a fun time, guys. Definitely. I didn't get kicked off, so
not this time.
Plus, not this time.
We probably talk about how we think this crazy stock market and will affect gaming and the gaming industry.
That'd be a good topic, actually.
Sweet. Yeah,
good idea.
We have some extra reviews. We've done several reviews on Luigi's Mansion 3.
Several reviews on one game.
Yes. Let's see. What other game did we do? I forget.
We did so far.
Okay. We have others planned, and then many more awesome, sweet benefits of the Patreon.
Speaking of extra reviews, a couple weeks ago, I told you guys that Corey and I beat Captain Toad on the Switch. So we'll, I think we're going to try to record that review next weekend. So that'll be available here in the next week or two.
Nice.
Haven't you finished? Didn't you finish Astral Chain? Or have you not finished
but
it yet?
We can review that one on the main show.
Oh yeah, right. Oh, I totally forgot to mention in my update. I will be playing, whatever that Pillars game is.
Pillars of Dust.
The Pillars of Dust.
Yes.
Dusty Pillars. I'm gonna be taking a dust mop to it and cleaning up those pillars.
Shine them up real good.
Yep.
And then, guys, the materia lockdown is still going. I'm seeing lots of people playing it. I'm seeing lots of people get stuck, like Jay is in Tails. So go play that. Go get your materia locked down. You'll want to do it now because you won't want to once the remake comes out.
We're like what, 20 days out?
Something like that.
25 days out?
I think next week it will eventually come on to our RPG releases.
What if we all get quarantined when that game comes out?
That'd be great. I think I'm gonna catch Corona that Monday.
Homie, I'm already quarantined.
Yeah. When do you guys want to talk about the Pillars of Dust thing? Like at the end of the episode or now?
We've mentioned it twice now. Might as well just knock it out.
Yep.
All right. So what's going on with that, Rich? What happened?
So recently I reached out to any developer company, any development team, and they had a contest to get a free copy of their game that's coming out March 17th on Steam. And they reached out to me because we have the podcast, and we are going to be discussing with them next week once we get that lined up with the development team about their most recent release and, just in general, what it is to go and make a game, because it'd be the first time we actually talk to a development team about video game making. So I'm excited for that. I know Jay definitely has some questions to ask them. The game that's coming out, like I said, is Pillars of Dust, which will be released on Steam March 20th, 2020.
What's the name of the studio?
The studio is Retreaux Games. Let me make sure I got that said right.
Oh, it's like Retreaux Games. It's spelled in a French way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Retreaux Games. Definitely something to go look at. They also made, they've made this one, Pillars of Dust. It's a retro RPG. So far, I'm liking it. It's definitely got a pretty good feel to it. Let's see, but we'll talk.
What was the last game they made?
Something
Shadows of
classic.
Adam?
Yes.
Okay.
Shadow of Adam. Something classic worked on. Who also is part of the team for the Pillars of Dust worked on Shadow of Adam.
I've got bad news.
What's up?
I don't have a Windows computer.
Are you kidding me?
Uh-oh.
I was hoping it would be supported on Mac, but nope.
That's okay. Bill can play it, so either way, it's fine.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, but I'm excited. It's pretty good. So
I saw Disa has played Shadows of Adam, and I believe she liked it. So
yes, she really did.
It looks fun. Like I'm watching it looks like quite a good time, especially as a time burner.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm watching through one of the like a clip from it on Steam, and it just said a nugget driven economy.
It's pretty funny. Yeah.
Nuggets?
Yeah, it looked like chicken nuggets. That's awesome.
So
yeah, I can tear into some McNuggets, man.
That's right. So be prepared for that. We're going to be talking more details about that as it gets closer. So be ready.
Alrighty. Are you guys ready to move on to the news?
Let's move on to the news.
Let's.
Hear ye, gather round for all your news. Stop your clatter and listen close. Alas, you won't believe your ears. Listen close for the news.
So right off the bat, CD Projekt Red news, some Witcher news.
Very relevant.
And that is that after Cyberpunk 2077, it is confirmed that CD Projekt Red will be working on another Witcher game. They specifically said that it's not going to be called The Witcher 4. So basically, it seems like they're having a smaller team work on this new Witcher game while the larger team works on Cyberpunk 2077. And then people will, after Cyberpunk comes out, they'll probably start pushing more resources onto this new Witcher game. But yeah, I kind of actually saw this coming, especially with the news that we had a little bit ago about the deal that CD Projekt Red remade, this settled on with Andrei Sapkowski, the author of the Witcher series.
Yeah.
But it's really awesome just to get confirmation that we are totally going to be getting a new Witcher game at some point. Don't know much about it, but it's absolutely many, many years off.
So I have a question about this. If they're not calling it The Witcher 4, did they say for sure it's going to be a new like main Witcher game, or is it going to be like a spinoff maybe?
I don't know. I really hope it's a main one and not some stupid Gwent.
I was about to say, what if it's just a Gwent game?
I'll be pretty bad.
Well, it could be like the God of War game that came out on PlayStation 4. It was definitely just, it was called God of War. So
just
yeah, they also specifically said that he confirmed plans for the Witcher follow-up, though he notes it will not be called The Witcher 4. So it's kind of like the implication that it's like a continuation of the story. My guess is that it's going to be, I don't know, you're going to be taking over Ciri. Like it's going to be some story around Ciri, and Geralt's going to be off, some old man retired, kind of like how The Last of Us goes to The Last of Us 2,
Just do the same thing when you're like an old grizzled guy taking care of a little girl.
More
How old
like
is Ciri in Witcher 3?
Oh, she's a young adult.
Okay.
She's
Do you get to play as anybody other than Geralt?
you get to play as Ciri a little bit.
Okay.
And some in flashbacks.
Yeah. All right. So, kind of huge news. Due to all this Corona shit, E3 has been canceled. Video game Christmas is done.
Everything fun is like canceling.
2020 has it's killing everything. Worst year ever.
No sports.
So I think a lot of people were sort of wondering even before all this Corona shit came out, like how many years E3 has left. Sony had pulled out. Nintendo doesn't do shows there anymore. There's a lot of like digital presentations. So I think that this isn't entirely due to Corona. It probably is a major factor, but it also probably provided the ESA with a good excuse to sort of regroup and figure out how they want to handle E3 going forward.
Yeah.
But it does suck for us gamers because I don't know about you guys, but like it is sort of like Christmas for me, just like watching all the announcements and all the stage shows.
I really wanted to go to it.
It would have been nice to do one day. They say it's actually not that fun for a regular person, but
I bet it's really boring.
Yeah. So what do you guys think? Do you think it was truly due to the Corona, or?
I do. And it's going to be their test of how it plays out going everything digital. It's forcing companies to think digitally first now. Yeah. So with E3 being canceled, like, okay, so how are we going to get the news out about our products? Well, digital releases such as the Nintendo Direct, the State of Play for the PlayStation, Xbox, whatever hell they do.
Yeah.
So
I'm wondering if like are they still gonna like all come together at the same time and like do a bunch of digital presentations, or the company is just gonna do things on their terms now?
It would probably make more sense to do their own stuff.
Yeah, I would think on the latter on that. It's just kind of weird because E3 is months away. It's kind of, I guess they're just worried that they won't be able to get it all together in time for that. Anyway, that's pretty huge news, and I think maybe we might talk about that some more on the aftercast if we do one about all the Corona effects and stock markets and shit. Oh well.
All right, so this is pretty big news, guys. I didn't know if you knew this. Same with our community. Bill finally got a Switch.
Thank God. He's been talking about it for years.
I know. So he picked up, I think he got a copy of the Switch Lite is what it was. So
the ugly ass gray one that you guys got.
Hey
bland ass shit.
Hey now. I'm basic.
Yeah.
I just like mine. Anyways.
That's not basic. That's boring.
Whatever. You don't know my life.
Basic is a pumpkin spice latte.
So yeah, Bill got a Switch. He has posted up a few things about it. He's really excited. I think the first game
Breath of the Wild.
I'd say the first game he got was Breath of the Wild. So yeah, that's it.
He made a good choice.
I guess.
I want to clarify that Patreon money was not used for that purchase. The idea was floated at one point, I think, but we shot that down.
Yeah. Well, he did save up Patreon money from before the show was revamped and everything before you guys got together. So
Well,
and
I'm
I
just
also
glad he
gave him,
has one. Everybody should have a Switch.
yes, everybody should. Switches for everybody.
That I'm gonna, yeah. That next time I talk to Bernie, old Bernie Sanders, that's what I'm gonna tell him. I'm like, look, I know you want health Medicare for all.
For a small
think we-
contribution of $28.
I think we need Switch for all.
I like that idea. I'm going to run on
Yeah.
that platform.
Well, think of it this way: with all this new stuff the government's doing and giving out money for everybody, they should also do the Switch for everybody because they're going to be stuck at home in this quarantine.
Yeah, I mean, we're about to pump 1.5 trillion back into the stock market. You might as well give everybody a Switch at that point.
Don't even get me started on that.
I think it's a better investment.
Probably. All right, so RPG releases. So in the past week, last Friday, which was 3/13, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus came out on the Windows, and Neo 2 on the PS4.
Nice.
So in 2 weeks, we got some games releasing. Like Scott said, we hopefully here soon we're going to start seeing Final Fantasy VII Remake. But March 23rd on Monday, Legends of Heroes: Trials of Cold Steel 3 comes out on Windows.
Trails of Cold Steel.
What, Trails? I'm stupid. It's like
Not
when you look
stupid. You're not stupid, Rich. Okay.
just can't
Don't read
read.
no good.
I just can't read no good. It's like when you look at the word chief and chef.
I get couch and coach screwed up a lot.
Tuesday the 24th, Vampires: The Masquerade, Counteries of New York.
Is that are those fun games? I feel like
that is.
I feel like I've heard that those were decent games.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people sing their praises. I've never really played one, but
Well, it's for Switch, so as you know, I'll probably have to check it out
of course.
just to see what it is. Well, I mean, yeah. The 31st of March, Persona 5 Royal
Yay.
comes out on PlayStation 4.
I will be buying that.
There you go. That's
That
the
timing, though.
releases.
Like, I was thinking about all the video games I'm going to buy this year, and I think I came up with like 5. 3 of those come out within like a couple weeks of each other.
So I'm a little behind. Is Persona 5 Royal just is it a spin-off of Persona 5, or is it like
just
an addition?
Yeah, it's like an enhanced port, just a re-release with more features and extra story shit and all that.
So
But not
I
on
have
the
a gripe
Switch,
with
huh?
that. No,
You have a
not yet.
gripe?
I do. With companies that do that constantly, that here's the game. A year later, it's the complete edition. Buy this again for the same full price. That pisses me off.
I mean, I understand if you have expansion packs, like the Fallout games or Oblivion and stuff, where it's like, okay, it's been out for a couple of years. There's 3 expansions. Let's release them all at once for the people who don't have it.
Mhm.
But if it's just like the exact same game and they just decided to add stuff onto it and resell it, I'm like,
Yeah, the added stuff is not DLC. It's like all new stuff. So,
All right. Whatever.
oh well.
That's
all
just-
right. So that is it for the news. Let's take a quick break and then we will wrap up our Witcher review. And we're back. So let's get rolling. Let's get started on part 2 of the Witcher TV series review. Okay, so we are back. So before we get going, I wanted to talk briefly on our episode reviews we did last week. So I did up some maths, and it seems the best episode out of the last 4 that we all rated was episode 3. We gave it basically a 4.5 out of 5 stars, and it kind of just had the it did not have the most story development or action. That ended up falling on episode 4, which we all absolutely loved episode 4. But based on the rest of the ratings with action, acting, and visuals, landed on episode 3 being the best out of the first half of the series. Don't know if I necessarily agree on that. I think the story development probably has a bit more weight to it than everything else does.
It's been a week. Remind me which one was episode 3.
Oh, of course you're going to ask me that, Scott. Of course you are. Betrayer Moon. That's the one with the Striga.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was a good one. Although I agree with you, I would have picked episode 4 as my favorite.
Yep, I think I think next time we'll have to make this more complicated and add some weighted values, or I don't know, maybe talk about a rating system before we just do it. But the worst episode, based on our very crappy rating system, is episode 2, which was the 4 marks, which was basically just learning a crap load about Yennefer. Which
Yeah.
I would agree, that probably is the worst episode.
Yeah.
Still okay, but we gave it a little under 2.5 out of 5.
Yeah, Geralt's plot was very weak in that one.
Yeah, lots
Other
of
than the
talking.
introduction of question, is it Jaskier or Haskier?
I
Both.
think it's Jeskier.
Okay. I keep hearing it pronounced different ways by different
I guess it
people. I'm
depends
like,
if you're Polish or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should probably have like a disclaimer in all of our episodes that we cannot pronounce anything.
Yeah, Midwest
know.
and Tennessee. Come on now.
Yeah. We can't do this.
All right. So with that, we are now going to move on to episode 5, and it's called Bottled Appetites. So this episode takes place not too long, a handful of years after Pavetta's betrothal, which was episode 4, which is where everything kind of went down, and Geralt called the law of surprise and got himself a future baby.
I have another question.
Yes.
I did not realize that this episode took place 3 years after that. And then last week you told me like Yennefer had been an Aedern for 30 years. And how am I missing these facts? Is that just like something the show doesn't actually tell you, or?
So the one with Yennefer, she straight up says that she's been doing it for 30 years. With this one, it's actually, it doesn't give you I said several years. I might have sounded like 3. I've just read that it's several years after.
Gotcha.
Okay. No specific points in time.
Ignore me.
Ignored. Okay. So basically, you see, it kind of starts off with Jaskier going out and like seeing Geralt, and Geralt's like grumpy and like throwing a net out to the water trying to catch something, and just generally being like a dick to Jaskier, and Jaskier is like doing his normal kind of being a funny, annoying fly to Geralt. And then after some pretty comedic back and forth banter, Geralt finally actually catches something. And it turns out he's been looking for a djinn. Djinn is like a genie in a bottle that grants wishes, basically. Except they're, yeah, right. Come a little closer. But
this one's not as friendly as Robin Williams.
No, it's not at all. So he catches it. Oh, he releases it, and there's kind of like it turns out Geralt's wanting to use the djinn to like help him sleep. He's not sleeping because he's having nightmares and dreams around Ciri and all the weird destiny stuff. So he gets it, and him and Jaskier have kind of like a weird back and forth, and then Geralt says something about wanting him to shut up, and then everything gets dark and freaky, and Jaskier kind of gets like basically throat cancer at this point. His throat like swells up, and he's like coughing up blood.
Yeah.
So
that was awesome.
Yeah, it was. You initially think
I didn't
that
catch that's it turns out that Geralt's the Wishmaster.
Yeah, I know it's very subtle, especially whenever you see you randomly see just a scratch on his arm and you have no idea what that's about.
Yeah.
But at this point, you think that Jaskier is like the djinn owner, because he grabs it and starts throwing commands out, and nothing really happens.
I thought the visual effects on like the throat thing, that was pretty good.
Yeah, they were very good. Pretty decent acting too on what's his face's part. So Geralt takes Jaskier to some mage, and the mage is like, I can't really do much for you, but there's a witch over in this town over here that totally could, but be careful. The witch is a crazy witch. So Geralt goes and takes Jaskier to like the what is it, like a mayor's house or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And right off the bat, you just see a bunch of naked people all over themselves, kind of how you saw in episode 1.
It's like a giant
And-
orgy.
Giant orgy. And in the very back, you see Yennefer. Doesn't she have a mask on at this point, like a
Yeah, it's like a
masquerade?
Butterfly masquerade mess
Yeah.
type thing.
And so this is where Geralt and Yennefer first meet. And essentially, Geralt just wants Yennefer to heal Jaskier.
Does
And
Yennefer like just get off on watching other people do it?
I think so.
It's like her own personal porno.
maybe,
Yeah.
who knows? I
noticed
think
there
she
wasn't
just
any gay
likes
sex going on though.
she likes being in power,
Absolute control.
absolute control. And so I don't remember like the details of the conversation that Yennefer and Geralt have, but basically she ends up agreeing to cure Jaskier. But then so she cures him, but then you find out that she has ulterior motives. She wants to use the Jin's power to regain her fertility. And she still thinks that Jaskier is kind of the holder of the Jin. So she heals him and then like starts being totally creepy and tries to take the powers or do some sort of weird ritual. But in the meantime, do you guys remember exactly how Geralt gets thrown in jail? I can't remember.
Because he beat somebody up. No, because Yennefer did something to him, and then he went to town and beat the hell out of some people. I think.
Hmm.
I don't remember. That's bad, but I don't remember. But yeah, Geralt does end up in jail. And he ends up making a wish while he's in the prison on accident. I don't remember what the exact wish was, but it basically just makes a dude's head explode. And he gets another scratch on his arm. So that's when he realized, oh crap, Geralt is the one who has the Jin. And so once he realizes this, he gets out of there and runs back. And you can see Yennefer using some sort of magic ritual to try and basically absorb the Jin, but it's not going too hot. So mostly around the fact that Jaskier wasn't the holder of the Jin, but also Jin are like one of the most powerful magical creatures in the Witcher world.
Yeah. Yennefer being stupid again.
Yeah, Yennefer being stupid.
Real dumb.
So realizing what Yennefer's trying to do, Geralt just uses his last wish, kind of like mumbles it under his breath. No one at this point who hasn't read the books knows what that wish is. And so the Jin finishes its final wish and then just skedaddles on out of there because it's free again. And Yennefer's all mad, and I don't know if they fight. I think they fall through the floor and then just land on top of each other. And Geralt, being the sexy piece of man candy he is, they just start banging.
Yeah, I liked that.
Yeah.
The thing with me being a bisexual man, I made this joke on Twitter. Like anytime there's a sex scene between Geralt and Yennefer, I'm like, I wish I was Yennefer. I mean, I wish I was Geralt. Like they're both so hot.
I think regardless of where you are on that sexual spectrum, I think anybody would be cool with being either of those people.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, Yennefer doesn't find out what the wish is. He ends up falling asleep. And kind of like in parallel, the most boring story progression happens, and that's with the Doppler. Basically, the Nilfgaardians hire a Doppler to impersonate Mousesack and try and go capture Ciri, which he ends up kind of like getting her and getting into the forest and taking her and whatnot. But that's generally a really crappy story plot that I was.
The Doppler is like a creature that can look like any other human, right?
But it has to
Yep.
eat.
Well, it can look like anything. It can look like animals too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep,
Huh.
they are a magical creature that can pretty much transform into any living thing.
Yeah. All right. Well.
Yeah.
that's
So,
episode 5.
so Scott, what do you think about the story development?
I mean, we do get Geralt and Yennefer meeting in this one, which is like finally those two plot lines come together, and that's pretty much they stay together for the rest of the season. So that was some good story development. This one also has Jaskier, which I like a lot. So I'll give it a 3, just because the series was so nothing.
How about you, Rich?
Yeah, I give it a 2. It wasn't as action packed and stuff for me. It was kind of boring.
I like the Gen stuff, but
Yeah, the gist stuff was okay, but that was about it.
yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 5, but mostly because the meeting point of Geralt and Yennefer's, uh, it retroactively for me, like reading the book and knowing the games, it's so important.
Is this where
So-
they meet in the book too?
Yep,
Okay. Cool.
yep. It's a the book's version's a lot better. I'm
Hmm.
not gonna lie, but oh yeah,
Apparently, I see on the Wikipedia article that short story is called "The Last Wish," so the book is named after this part.
yep. So how about action, Scott?
I guess the stuff there's not a whole lot of action. It's mainly just the Gen doing its thing with people's throats and trying to be controlled and shit. However, the Gen stuff was pretty good, so I'll give it a 3 here as well.
Rich?
Action, about a 3. I mean, I did like the giggity that was going on at the end.
We're considering that the action.
Yeah, that's
right,
that's
that
about
is-
it.
I
That
guess
is
about
the
it.
action.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much all I can say on that. The action itself was lackluster. So a 3's very generous, I think.
Yeah, I'm also gonna give it a 3, and the sexy action is the only reason it's not a 2.
Yeah.
So how about the acting?
Acting is pretty awesome in this one. I think Josh Skeeter did a good job of having his throat cancer, and then there's that one scene where Yennefer's like sort of getting possessed by the Gen or whatever the hell she's doing. That was really good acting, I thought. And then the attraction between Geralt and Yennefer is very believable due to the acting. So I guess I will give it a 4.
How about you, Rich?
I'll give it a 4 as well. The acting was good. I didn't have any complaints to it. There wasn't a lot of, cringy moments. It was good.
I'm gonna give it a 4 too, but I think one person that you guys are totally missing out on mentioning is that that one mage who was like the side character mage guy who's like in love with Yennefer, and like toward the very end when Yennefer and Geralt are banging, and Jaskier and that dude think that they're both dead. Jaskier's like going off and talking about how he's gonna miss Geralt and how they had such a good adventure, and then he just like looks over and they're getting their jig on, and that guy just looks so heartbroken while utterly interested at the same time. I feel like he was a good little icing on the cake.
One thing to note here is that Jaskier does not care for Yennefer.
No, he does not.
Yeah.
And he never does. So how about those visuals?
Sort of goes along with the acting, but sorry. The main visuals in this one are all related to the Gen, I guess. So like I said, the visuals on Jaskier and Yennefer dealing with that were pretty good. Other than that, it's mostly standard Witcher fare. There's nothing really wrong with it, but there's nothing super good either. So I'll give it a 3.
Richie?
4. All day 4.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4 too. I really like the Jin stuff, and I also like how and this is something that the game also respected, like the description of the Jin being like a weird energy ball versus like a blue genie. I thought the respect towards that was quite nice. So that is episode 5. Let's move on to episode 6, Scott.
Okay. So episode 6 is one of my favorite episodes. Basically what happens is Geralt and Jaskier are at a bar when this random old dude named Borscht comes up, and he's got like these 2 like Amazonian black women with him that are just like total badasses, Taya and Vea. And it's like this gets alluded to later, but my first question was like, why are these two amazing like warrior women traveling with this dude? And they say, what is it? They say because he is the most beautiful. It's like, what?
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Anyway, basically there's this dragon hunt going on. There's like a dragon that's running a rampage around the kingdom, and they need to get rid of it immediately due to some kind of political reason. So there's like this organized group of hunters that are going after the dragon. It's made up of like 4 parties, and this sports dude and his Amazon women want to hire Geralt as a witcher to come with them and be part of their party, because whoever slays the dragon gets some kind of reward from the king. So initially, Geralt is very resistant to the idea because the dragons are like kind of rare, and he doesn't like killing dragons. And it's so dangerous, it's like not worth it to him, and he thinks the whole idea is stupid. But then he notices that one of the parties going on the hunt is led by Yennefer and some knight dude that she's accompanying.
I love that knight dude. I love him so much.
What's his name?
I don't remember, but he's hilarious.
Yeah. The other 2 parties, one of them is called the Reavers. Yeah, the Reavers, and they're just made up like of a bunch of like cutthroat assholes. And then the 4th party is a group of dwarves who are angry very easily, but they're also like good natured and hilarious. So I really love.
They were one of the highlights of this episode.
Yeah. So because Yennefer is going on the hunt, Geralt is convinced to go along, and Jaskier joins as well because he's always just looking for a way to new inspiration for songs and shit. Which is funny because towards the beginning of this episode, you can see him like trying to come up with a song, and the credits is like the finished version of the song, which I really like, but we'll talk about that when we get there. So basically this whole episode is just them like going up the mountains and through the forest on their way to the dragon cave. The Reavers are like really antagonistic the whole time, but they sort of just travel as a pack. They have a campfire dealio where they all bond a little bit. So the dude that Yennefer is accompanying, he's just like this really overbearing, like pompous knight who's just like, I will defeat the dragon and bring, be a hero for the kingdom and all that shit. So it's unclear why Yennefer is, tagging along with this dude. And do you guys actually, I never did get like totally clear on why she needed this knight dude.
I think she just needed somebody to accompany her and like do the dirty work.
Okay.
Because
on their way up,
whenever he dies, she's just like, oh, whatever.
Yeah. On their way up, Jaskier goes into this thicket. He's trying to like find stuff to make the Taya and Vea like him. They encounter some kind of monster. Do you remember the name of that monster? It's like this fawn looking thing that stands up on 2 legs.
I don't remember the name of it, but it looked like a kind of a lamb goat thingy.
Yeah. Geralt gets pissed because the knight dude slays the monster, but if you just feed it, it'll go away. So he like sees it as a needless death. So then at the campfire later, the knight dude eats part of the monster, even though the others are telling him like you shouldn't do that. And he immediately gets like constipated as fuck and sick and shit. So he has to like go off by himself. Then when they wake up the next morning, they find him dead. His throat has been slit, assumedly by the Reavers, who, like I said, are like the evil group in this hunt.
And assumedly while he was pooping.
Yeah, they do mention that. So Yennefer's like pissed because now she doesn't have the guy she was accompanying. And this whole time she's been sort of like flirting with him just to make Geralt jealous, it seems. So Geralt finally corners her and wants to know, why are you on this hunt? What are you going to get out of this? Apparently you can like slay a dragon and their organs or something are supposed to have like fertility properties. So she thinks that she can get her ability to have a kid back.
I mean, She needs stuff to be regenerated. They like took her guts out.
Yeah. I don't know how that works. Assumingly the dragons are super magical. So everybody's pissed about that the Reavers were huge dickholes, and they decide to try to head them off. So they like go across this really like unstable wooden. I don't even want to call it a bridge. It's almost like a ledge that has been built to.
Pieces of 2x4
Yeah.
into the mountain.
It's like very dangerous and something I would personally never do. And they shouldn't have, because the boards do sort of break, which causes Borsch and Taya and Vaya to fall. They basically sacrifice themselves so the others don't fall. So Geralt's pissed about that because he liked them. But anyway, they eventually get to the cave and they find out that actually Borsch was a dragon. Apparently dragons can turn into humans when they want to. And he was trying to guard his dead wife, who also had a dragon egg. And the reason he hired Geralt was so that he knew that Geralt like didn't want to kill dragons, so he thought that Geralt would like help protect the egg and him. So Yennefer sort of loses her resolve to slay the dragon because he was just trying to protect the egg, and all she cares about is having a baby. So she like kind of identifies with it. Then the Reavers come, and then like they join up with the dwarves, and they all like defeat the Reavers, and that's basically it. They decide to leave the dragons alone. So that sword fight I thought was really cool. Like, I want to know when did Yennefer learn like all the hand-to-hand combat shit?
I don't know. She's had 50 years since she became
guess.
a sorceress or whatever.
That's what she does for fun. So after that, Geralt and Yennefer continue to argue about like the futility of her trying to have a baby, and it comes out during all this that Geralt used his third wish with the djinn to basically always be bound to Yennefer by destiny. Is that what I understood it to be?
I think so.
Yes.
Or was it to just save her?
He binds their fate by destiny.
Right.
Like, so they're always intertwined.
Yeah. I did forget there is this one scene in here where they have sexy time again, and they like sort of like admit their love for each other. They talk about how they never wake up in the same bed, but this time they do. So there's sort of like this commitment thing going on. But
it also implies that there have been a lot more hookups since
Yeah.
since they met in the episode before.
She makes a comment like, "I keep running into you."
Yeah, he does.
So when she learns that, she gets pissed because she's thought that their love was real, and now she knows it's just like she thinks it's just destiny and what all.
The djinn's magic.
Yeah, and she also knows that she learns that Geralt has Ciri, like the whole law surprise thing, and she gets pissed about that because she's like, you have a kid, and you're lecturing me about not wanting one. So she gets super pissed. She like storms off, and then Geralt gets he's super pissed about the whole situation, and he like takes it out on Jaskiers, being like, "I'm tired of shoveling your shit, and if I never saw you again, that would be great." So that hurts Jaskier's feelings, and he's like, "Well, all right then," and he leaves.
At least it gives you the implication that Jaskier's like, I know you don't mean it, but it hurts.
Yeah. So the song ends up being that Jaskier writes. It's in the credits. It's called "Her Sweet Kiss," and it's basically about what a like two-timing bitch Yennefer is, about using her womanly wiles and stuff to mislead people.
Yeah, she's pretty terrible.
Yep. So that's the end of that plot. And then in the Ciri plot, basically, her and Dara are traveling with fake Mousak, really a doppelganger. Dara picks up pretty much immediately that something's off about him. So they go back and forth, and eventually Ciri figures it out too. And they end up having to like break free and escape. And that's pretty much her whole plot that episode.
So is this the episode where the Doppler like fights the leader, that Nilfgaard captain, but the Nilfgaard captain like
think
can't
that
tell.
might be the next episode.
Okay.
But yeah,
I
so that's basically episode 6. Do you want to lead the ratings or shall I?
Go for it.
Okay. So story development. Let's just go backwards this time. Jay, what did you think of the story development?
So I didn't think it was the most fabulous. And to be completely honest, I thought this was probably the most poor adaptation of the book story within the TV series. I just felt like the book executes it like way better, explains things a lot more. And I think in the book you actually like explains that the two women that were accompanying the man actually transform into dragons. They transform into green dragons. But I don't think that happens in the TV show. So it's like I'm sure some people are still like, oh, are they dragons or not dragons? But it also like the just the general interaction with Geralt and Yennefer in the book is a lot more profound than it is in the TV series. I feel like this was rushed a little bit. I don't feel like we got a whole lot out of the story except now Yennefer's mad at Geralt. So I'll probably give it a 2.
Ouch. Okay. What about
I'm
you,
going the
Rich?
same way. I said it too. It wasn't really. It
I
wasn't
al-
the best.
I also really hate the Doppler stuff.
Yeah, I don't like
it's,
him either.
it's pointless. It is something that could have been completely cut out and nothing. Like there's only one thing that we learn from it, which doesn't even happen until the next next episode.
Well,
So I
even
give
by
it
the end
two.
of the season, the Doppler's still alive, right? So I'm assuming he's going to be important again later.
Is he still alive?
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure he's not.
Maybe not. Well, actually, I do agree with you guys that like the plot isn't super furthered in this one, but I did really enjoy the side story. You see a bunch of bonding between the characters, and I did enjoy like it sort of felt like a journey almost. You know, they're climbing up the mountain to get to the dragon. This is actually one of my favorite episodes.
I think you're gonna love the book version of it way better than.
Awesome. I look forward to that then. But because I liked it so much, I'm gonna give it a 4. All right. So next up is action. Jay.
Action was good. Had some good fighting. The dragon getting all up in the battle was pretty good. I'll give it a 4.
Okay. What about you, Rich?
The only thing action that saved it was the scene in the cave. So I'm going to give it a 4 as well, just because of that whole entire battle sequence.
Yeah. Well, you also get another sex scene in this one.
I do.
I too thought that the fight in the Dragon Cave was pretty awesome. Probably, maybe I'm forgetting one, but I think this was like the best action fight scene in the series so far. But you're right that there's not a whole lot leading up to that other than maybe crossing the bridge. So I'll go with a 4 as well. And then the acting. Yay.
I'm gonna give it a 3. I'm not totally impressed with Henry Cavill's like angry, yelling, mad. I'm just not totally impressed with the back and forth of people being angry with each other.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't feel like that was an argument that would happen in real life and the way that it happened. But maybe I just don't have very many
It just
heated
seems like
fights.
Jennifer is just like kind of immature even after all these years. So
yeah. So yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Next.
You give it a 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give it a 2. It wasn't the best. It was not my favorite episode.
Well, I did love Taya and Vea.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome. Be nice to see them come back somehow. Although
the dwarves and Taya and Vea were like my favorite parts.
So I'm going to give it another 4 because I agree that the the fight itself doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but also I did think it was well acted, and then all the back and forth between Geralt and Yennefer when they're getting lovey-dovey, I liked that as well. The Jaskier's in this one, so that's always an extra point for me, and also the knight dude, I can't even remember his name, but he
Yeah.
really hammed it up, so I thought that was pretty good. And then our last category is visuals. Jay.
So I thought the visuals overall were really good. The mountain scenes were really awesome, where they were scaling the side of the mountain. I thought the dragon probably could have looked better overall.
It's definitely an interesting take.
Yeah, totally. But overall, they were perfectly fine. I'll give it a 4.
All right. Rich.
I liked the scenery in that whole thing. It wasn't overly impressed with a few things on it. The mountain scene, I'm going to give it a 3.
Okay. For me, I'm going to give it a 5, just because I thought the dragon did look good. You're right, Jay, that it could have looked better, but I didn't really have any big problems with it. The scenery in this one is just awesome. There's a lot of like establishing shots of look how pretty this area is. You see like where the forest is sort of burned down, where the dragon attacked. Everybody looks cool. So yeah, and I think that that's going to be my rating. Which brings us to an end for episode 6.
Yeah. So we're going to move on to 7.
Yep.
All right. So before the fall, I thought this one was a really good one. So basically, right off the bat, Nilfgaard is poised to invade Sintra. So it's happening. So Geralt is going back to Sintra to, invoke the law of surprise. So he's there ready to take her and go, take her to safety. But if I remember correctly, he meets Mousak in this one. He's already met him, but he meets him underground and everything. And
I think Mousak's like the only one who's like, yeah, like I believe in destiny.
Yeah, we should not mess with this stuff. So, he's there and he's like, I'm going to take Ciri out of here. Like, you need to help me do this. I'm going to invoke the law of surprise. Well, he gets surprised by, and I always forget the queen's name, Calanthe. So Calanthe's men know that he's there, or she knows he's there, so she ambushes him. He takes Mousak hostage, hypothetically there, and they teleport out. Well, when he gets teleported, he's met by Calanthe, throws him in jail because she's pissed and told him never come back. He talks about, you know that there's a force here. I'm here to protect her. He gets thrown in jail.
That was a big surprise for me. I was like, he was at the fucking invasion.
Yep,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, same here. Whenever I realized that, I was like, how they gonna pull this off? Like there's no way Geralt was there. He was not there.
He was in jail. Well, I kind of skipped ahead of that, but Calanthe shows him Geralt a Ciri, but it's a fake one. It's not real. It's not the real one. It's just some commoner. Well, he finds out that it's not. He's not fooled by it. He takes off.
Well, it doesn't. He's not fooled by it because he like kind of sneaks out and looks by and actually sees Ciri like talking to that other girl and sees her like in the hood and stuff. He's like, okay, I'm no fool.
Yeah, he knows. He's not stupid. So he confronts it. That's when he gets arrested and thrown in jail, and is what it is. But when that happens, Yennefer, we see Yennefer in a small mining town. I think they're doing some kind of like it's excavation, and she finds what's his name?
What's his beautiful eyed man?
Yeah, that guy. The guy's Istrid. Yeah,
Istrid.
Yeah, and I'm confused by this, by the way. So is it really Istrid? Because she's like making out with him, like gets ready to make out with him and stuff, and he turns into somebody else. Like, I'm confused on that. Who is that guy? Is it still Istrid in the pub?
I don't remember that at all. Oh no.
Yep, I can't remember that. So the whole thing is he convinces Yennefer to return back to Hogwarts. And basically there is a confrontation between the Brotherhood and Tessa,
So
Belgaforts, Trish, and other mages to basically combat Niflgaard, because they know Niflgaard is actually getting ready to invade and do
they're
some
trying to
terrible
decide
things.
whether or not to interfere with
Exactly.
the war.
Yennefer says, no, I don't really care about that. You guys can F off for all I care. Eventually she gets talked into it because the Brotherhood's like, no, it is what it is. Because one of the Brotherhood's board members or whatever, the granddaughter is the mage that's in charge, or that's helping Niflgaard and help them actually, progress into what they are now. And she's trying. Fringilla. Yeah, Fringilla is, I hate her. She's kind of she's a bee.
I did realize this, but I did think that the show didn't do a super good job showing like that Fringilla was like one of the other witches that trained with Yennefer, because they didn't like focus on her at all during the whole training part.
I think she was in a separate class, probably.
Yeah.
No, they were in the same class. She was just, it was very subtle. You just saw some scenes with her.
Just seemed like
I'm pretty
extra.
sure. Wasn't she actually the one that Yennefer was training with on the whole? Whenever Yennefer was hunchback, the whole "what are your fears" or whatever, like one of those.
I
I
think
don't know.
Maybe.
I swear she was with one of them.
Yeah, she's in a scene or two, but it's just like forgettable almost.
Yeah. So
It's most obvious whenever Yennefer like steals the ability to go to Aedirn from.
Yes, because she was pissed. Fringilla was pissed about that. So once that's done, Yennefer is finally convinced to join them, and knows Niflgaard's bad people. So Niflgaard is invading and doing all that. So now we cut to Calanthe sending Ciri away to find Geralt, because she knows she messed up. She knows.
Yeah.
So
the whole place is coming down now. So.
Yeah, everything's on
And
fire.
You actually start seeing scenes that you saw in episode 1.
Yeah,
right.
so
It's
you're
just
seeing all
from
the
a
convergence.
different perspectives.
Yeah, you're seeing all the convergence for it. So
You see her
Ciri
jump out the window
finally
again.
Yeah, Calanthe, she did.
She pulls a Tommen.
Yep, she did. Geralt actually sees this at that point. He's already trying to find her, and they're both looking for each other. They're always missing each other, basically. Ciri eventually makes it out of the town. What's really cool about this one, she actually gets ambushed in like a field by some like people, like I guess commoners, I assume, right?
People that she knew back from Sintra.
Right.
And they were going to give her up. They said, this is your fault. If they're looking for you, we'll give them you. Well, she had other plans, and her powers activated. She killed them all.
Like
So,
a mouse.
Yeah. And then that's it.
Yeah, sort of like here's more facts about what happened.
Exactly. So I like how it recaps everything in the first episode. It's all coming back full circle with everybody. You starting to see the timeline starting to converge back to this one spot. So let's review this. Let's go with that. Jay, what'd you think?
So story development, I'm gonna
Yes.
give it a 5, and that is entirely because this is like the episode where everything starts to like congeal, where you're like, oh, okay, like all the stories leading up is kind of building up to this particular episode. Like this is the episode where the timeline splits stop. Like everything, like the timelines converge in this one. So because of that, I'm giving it a 5. I think it's very cool to see the different perspectives of the scenes that you saw in episode 1, as well as just the realization that, like, wow, Geralt was there in episode 1, like whenever we saw Sintra being attacked.
For me, it's not quite the same because I feel like we already got the huge reveal of, that we're not on the same timeline in episode 4. But it was cool seeing that, like, oh shit, Geralt was there. So I'll give it a 4.
I thought it was a really good episode. Like the whole aha moments and things are starting to go down. I'm going to give it a 5.
Yeah,
This is also, I'm pretty sure this is also the last episode that has timeline splits.
Yep.
Yes. It's like we spent the whole season just sort of figuring out what happened in episode 1.
Yep.
Everybody's so confused. Jay, next thing.
With the action, I'm gonna give it a 4. I thought there was some pretty sweet action with Geralt, and just kind of replaying the kind of the scenes that you saw in episode 1, as well as that little addition of Ciri kind of coming into some of her powers that would just knocking people over, killed a bunch of people. So yeah, solid 4.
For me, I'm going to give it a 3. I agree with Jay that it was pretty good for the most part, but I don't really remember a whole lot of like significant action going on. There's the standard, Geralt beating the shit out of people, but other than that, it's just like standard Witcher fare for me.
I think one thing that was kind of glossed over was that Nilfgaard knight. I can't remember his name, and then the Doppel's interaction. So the Doppel like ends up saying like "screw you," like that girl has super crazy magical powers, and you tried to get me to mess with her. So he tries to kill the knight, and then the knight like kicks his butt, and then the Doppler runs away into a pub, like an inn,
Mm-hmm.
and then
And we're sure that's this episode.
I'm pretty positive it's this one,
Yeah,
because
I think so.
episode 8 was just all straight action.
Okay, well, in that case, I'll give it a 4 because the fight scene with the Doppler was awesome, like really visceral.
Like the fact that instead of trying to find the Doppler in that inn, the Nilfgaard captain just killed everybody in it.
Yeah. What is that dude's name? Because he seems like a main character, and I never.
He is technically a main character. What's his name? It is. Let me see if I can find it.
Is it Kyre?
Yeah,
Care.
something like that.
We may never know. Okay. So, what did you think about the action, Rich?
I'm gonna get a 5. I mean, the action there, like the next 2 episodes, I think are just the action is right there. It's so good. I was on the edge of my seat.
So with the acting, I thought the acting overall was pretty solid. Nothing stood out as bad. Nothing stood out as like overwhelmingly good. I thought this series actor in this was pretty good comparatively. So I'm going to give it a 4, but that's a hesitant 4 because I don't really remember much. However, Calanthe and Mousesack being in here in this episode made it a lot better because both of those characters were really awesome.
I was going to say Calanthe is awesome, so that's like a bonus point for me. No Jaskier though. We don't get any more Jaskier this season, which makes me sad.
Well, he's not a fighter.
Geralt broke up with him.
Yeah, they're done for now.
Sad. For acting, I'll give it a 4 because I thought that the acting from the Doppler and Kaher was pretty good. And if that is this episode, there's also the thing where Ciri, I thought when he thinks he's captured Ciri, but it's the Doppler. She did good in acting in that scene for once.
Oh yeah, that is good. I totally forgot about that.
So yeah, it's a 4 for me, dog.
I'm going to give it a sweet 4 as well, only because like the acting itself wasn't over the top. Like, oh my God, this is amazing. You had some good interaction between Calanthe and Mousesack and Geralt. The Doppler, he freaks me out. Like, I don't, anyways, he's kind of creepy.
He's very into himself.
Yeah.
Like Hannibal.
And he keeps talking to himself as they, right? I think he kept saying we do this, we do that, because it's a collective people he's killed. Such great. Yeah. We are Venom.
Yeah.
So I give it a 4. Ooh, that comes out here soon, by the way. Super excited for that.
We can talk about that later.
Yep.
We're on visuals, right?
Yes, visuals. What do we think, Jay?
Visuals. I think it mirrors episode 1 again. I thought the visuals that you get with the Doppler are always pretty dang good. I'm just gonna slap a 4 on it. Nothing so impressive that I slapped it up to a 5, but 4 is still solid.
Yeah. Speaking of which, the whole reason I thought that the Doppler lived was because I thought that they had the big fight, and then the Doppler like escapes into like the busy pub and just like runs out.
No, you see another scene where everybody in the pub is dead.
Oh right, I assumed he like escaped the pub though, but
I
maybe
think
not.
he said something about not taking any chances. She was
Yeah.
like, you could have made him touch silver. And he's like, I'm not taking any chances.
Right. All right. Well, then the visuals for
Overkill.
me, it's going to be another 4. I agree. I pretty much agree with everything Jay said. The invasion visuals were all pretty good, and then like the fight scene feels really visceral, just like kind of brutal, and it didn't really hold back on like the gore and shit.
I am actually going to give it a 5 on the visuals because the scenes, definitely from the castle, the perspective of Geralt, what he's seeing in the prison, just everything coming together and all those visuals melding, I thought was done really well.
So
Right.
one little Easter egg that they have, when Geralt's in the prison and he's just like cross-legged, like meditating,
Yeah.
that is like an iconic pose for Geralt. Well, I think he's like on his knees meditating. That's like in all of the games, it's an iconic scene. Like that's how he meditates in all the games. I thought it was a cool little Easter egg.
It's like he's
I
going to
know that.
spring into action
Not as good as the bathtub scene though.
because he's naked. We get it, Scott. You like that? I do too.
Okay, so we done with 7 then?
Done with 7. Let's move on to the last episode, the pinnacle, the final episode of the season. So this episode has a crap ton of action that I don't remember all of it, and I'm not going to be able to cover like every intricate fight scene. So I am probably going to like la-di-da over a decent amount of it and say awesome fighting stuff. Go watch this episode.
Yeah.
But essentially, this is the episode where all of the hardcore battle between Nilfgaard and the mages happen. In the previous episode, you see that the mages decide to stand up and fight against Nilfgaard, and they're like, what is it? A bridge that's protecting some northern. Is this? Yeah, it's a bridge that's stopping Nilfgaard from going past Sintra and into like the Novigrad area, I think is what it is.
Yeah. It's the holding point of the entire country. So if they get past this part, it's done. So that's why they got to hold that line.
So they're like reinforcing a place called Sodden Hill to try and prevent the Nilfgaards, and this kind of happens in parallel with Geralt escaping Sintra and then kind of just following Ciri's footprints. You can kind of see Geralt going back to that refugee camp that Ciri was at in episode 2, I think it was. And he sees a bunch of dead refugees, and I think he saves a merchant from being attacked by what I assume is ghouls.
Yeah, that's what he said it was.
Yeah, some ghouls, and he fights them, but he gets bit by them, and they're super venomous, and so he falls unconscious and ends up riding in the back of the cart of the merchant, and pretty much stays there the whole episode. But in the same timeline, on the other side of this like forest is where Sodden Hill is, and essentially all the sorceresses and sorcerers are fighting the Nilfgaardians. And you can see like all the sorcerers and sorceresses using their cool magic powers. So like one sorceress is like taking out like 100 Nilfgaardian soldiers just because of how powerful they are. Whether it's using like poison mushrooms or what's some more things that they did. Poison mushrooms was one of them.
One thing that I thought was lame. Triss Marigold, her main like contribution to the battle, as far as I could tell, was like she created a wall of like branches.
Yeah,
Still got hit by an arrow.
Yeah.
But pretty much, what's her face? Frangilla is like crazy awesome and is using dark magic to like basically mind control people. And like while the battle looks like it was like leaning towards the sorceresses and the sorcerers, you see that slowly the sorcerai, the good people, the mages, are running out of magic, and just once they run out of magic or like energy, they're get killed right away. They're done for.
There's one part where like there's sort of a scare where it seems like they might have gotten to Saya, and I was like, no.
Yep.
But she manages to survive.
And also, you find out that Vilgefortz, like, he's super awesome. He's like fighting the captain, Kahir, I think his name is, and he's kind of getting his butt kicked. But every time he loses a weapon, he uses magic to draw another weapon, and he ends up getting like kicked down a hill.
Yeah, because he ran out. He ran out of magic. He couldn't pull another sword out of his ass.
Yep. But you see, whenever he ends up seeing somebody who is on his team, like, and then he kills them. And that's the kind of like an unveiling of like, oh, okay, so Vilgefortz is actually on Nilfgaard's side. They don't explain why. They don't explain like apparently everything that we just saw of him fighting that captain of Nilfgaard was all just for show. So Vilgefortz is actually a bad guy. Tissaia got her butt kicked in the end. Triss got her butt kicked. Fringilla used like mind control magic to it was some kind of gem that whenever it like heats up, it explodes. I think it's like a
bomb.
Yeah, it was basically a bomb. She used magic, like a little like a worm, mind controlling worm magic thing to grab one of the kids and use them as like Unabombers.
Close.
But
Yeah.
But then the battle ends.
Well, I think everything's like on fire at this point.
Yeah.
And it looks like your Nilfgaard and its entire army is about to come and just annihilate the rest of the mages and just keep going. But Yennefer, being all in her mighty powerfulness, and she's kind of like at a high point of emotion because like a lot, like they're losing, people are about to die. Triss has taken an arrow. Tissaia is like pretty much done for. So what she does is she like absorbs all the fire that is because the entire Sodden Hill like castle and everything's in flames. She like takes all that fire and just redirects it at the Nilfgaardian army and just burns all of them. Like
just like fucking annihilates them.
Yeah, it annihilates the entire army in just a huge inferno vortex of awesome fire.
And she also makes it to where the fire doesn't like goes around all the other mages.
Yep. Yeah, which I thought this was like the pinnacle of the episode. This was just fantastic. Like she pretty much just technically won that whole that battle on Sodden Hill. And this actual the battle on Sodden Hill is incredibly important. It's an important scene for like everything else going on. I actually don't think you get this in the books. It's just a referenced in the books quite a lot.
So Tissaia like looks up at Yennefer being kind of like, what have I created?
Yeah. And that's the point that you realize that Yennefer is probably the most powerful mage. But in parallel of this happening, basically a woman finds Ciri. She's knocked out on the ground after Ciri used her magic to like slaughter all those peeps, and takes her back home, back to her house. I was like, okay, you can just live with me. You'll be one of my kids, basically. And so that is kind of the end of the just Ciri plot point at this point. But Geralt being in the back of that merchant's van after he's passed out is having like visions and like weird flashbacks of him when he was a kid and his mom and whatnot. But he ends up being taken back to the merchant's house. And it just so happens that the merchant is the husband of the woman who found Ciri. And so, I don't know, Ciri and Geralt end up meeting in the forest. Ciri like runs away out into the forest, which I thought was weird. I think she was just trying to run away in general. And then Geralt shows up and he's like, oh, I don't know, feelings of destiny.
I've been looking for you. And just bam.
And that's how the episode ends.
She ends with saying, who's Yennefer?
Yeah.
But I don't know. So I thought this was the ending here was a little, it's not as powerful as it was in the books, another instance of it, because so first off, in this episode, do you guys remember if Geralt invokes the law of surprise on this man for saving him?
Yes, as a joke. I think just
Yeah.
casually says it like a law of surprise. Here you go.
Yeah, there you
He
go.
should stop doing that.
Yeah, so so 2 times he's called the law of surprise, both times ending up with Siri.
Yep.
But in the book, Siri had full intentions of she didn't run away in the book. She wasn't off in the forest. It was just the merchant, Geralt saves the merchant, invokes the law of surprise, and the merchant takes him back to his house. And it just so happens that Siri was a thing that he had that he didn't know he had. And so in the book, Siri and Geralt convert, run towards each other on the road, right at the right in front of the house, as opposed to weird and way off in the forest. But in the books, Geralt and Ciri had already known each other. She already knew who he was, so it wasn't oh, who are you, strange white-haired man.
Real quick, not to interrupt you, Jay, but I think you got to go, right, Rich?
I do.
So
I
do. You
do.
want to give us your ratings just real quick and quick
Yes.
thoughts.
Yes. So real quick on this episode here, I'm going to give 4 on the story because everything is converging together. It's the big opening fight scenes with Niflgaard and the mages trying to protect the land. I thought that was done very well. Was it perfect? It had definitely some flaws in it, but it was still great. The action, 5, no doubt. It's just definitely going to be
sort of like a Battle of the Blackwater type deal.
Yep, basically
one of those things.
Yep, it's over the top for sure. Definitely done very well. The fire that Yennefer just blew at the Niflgaard army, just a giant middle finger to them. It was awesome. The acting, you could definitely tell this was the final episode. Everybody finally, got into their character more so. It's just everything was done perfectly in my eyes. And the scenery, 5. Nothing to complain about that. Everything was done very well. You didn't need a lot of CG. You didn't need a lot of different effects to it to make this work out the way it did. I thought it was done very well. So that is my overall thoughts. I enjoy the series. I cannot wait for season 2, which we got to wait till next year?
I guess so.
Maybe longer than
I know they've already started filming.
Yeah, it's probably going to be later than that because of stupid coronavirus. But yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited for it. It made me want to buy The Witcher 3 on my Switch.
Same here.
To play it. So that's something we'll have to do eventually. I just haven't had a chance yet. So I really like it.
Wow, a game Rich doesn't own on the Switch. It's the first time for everything.
No, I own it on the Switch. I already have it.
Oh, okay.
I have it. Are you kidding me? Ooh.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I got it. I still got to make that list tonight of all the games I have for Bill. So that is all I have for me, guys. I'm going to go to work now.
All right, man. You have fun.
Have fun, Richie.
Cover it from here.
Yes. Have fun, guys. Thanks.
Later, man.
Bye.
All right. Sorry to interrupt you, Jay.
All good. What do you think about the story development that we got here, Scott?
So everything sort of comes to a head here. I remember early in the season, I remember thinking, it's going to take this whole damn season just for Geralt and Ciri to finally meet, isn't it? It's going to be like the last thing that happens probably. And I was right.
Yep.
So that finally happened. So I am excited to see what their interaction is going to be more like next season. And then maybe Ciri's plots won't be so weak if they're tied in more with Geralt's. But we'll see.
Yeah, I haven't gotten that far in the books. I have a general consensus of what happens, but I know that Ciri and Geralt don't actually stay together for that long.
Yeah. So anyway, there's not the main thing that happens, like we said, they come together, and the rest is just like battles and all the conflict coming to a head. So the story itself, this episode is needed, but it's not like anything super major happens in this plot. And honestly, I don't really remember all of Geralt's stuff other than reuniting with Ciri that much. So I'll give it a 3.
Alrighty. So story development. Yeah, this was pretty much entirely about the battle and just getting converging Ciri and Geralt's stories. But knowing how important like the entire Battle of Sodden Hill is in terms of Witcher lore, I decided to go ahead and give it a 4.
It's funny that you said you don't really get the battle in the books, but usually when it comes to battles, you get more details in the books because they're so expensive to produce on screen.
Yeah, at least I don't remember getting details about the battle
Yeah,
outside of just contextual information around
right.
like whenever you like at one point you see that Triss has like a huge burn on her chest,
Mhm.
and she explains that it's from the battle at Sodden Hill whenever Yennefer blew everybody up.
It's sort of like with early Game of Thrones episodes when they would just say battles happened off screen before they got a big budget.
Yep. But yeah, other than that, I thought it was good. How about the what do you think of the action?
I got to give the action a 5 because that's mostly what the episode is. The entire battle was pretty legit, just like magic going off everywhere. You never really knew or expected what would happen next in the battle. The whole fire thing was badass. Seeing Tisaya in action was pretty cool. And what's the dude's name?
Vilgefort,
Yeah,
something like that.
that was cool. Um, so yeah, it's probably the most action packed episode in the season. So, and it was all pretty good. I wish Triss was less lame with her magic, but
Yeah. Triss, I'm pretty sure in the books Triss stays pretty lame, and she's more relevant in the game.
womp womp.
Yeah. So acting. Wait. Still on action. Sorry. So I will also give action a 5 for all the reasons you just said.
Straight
There's
fives from all three of us.
not much more that you can mention. All the battles were incredibly
Right.
awesome, and the fire was really awesome. So how about the acting?
Um, it's interesting because it's like, how do you rate acting when it's mostly action? But I didn't really have any problems with it, and I thought that all the characters' reactions during the battle were believable. I was really scared for some of them. Like there were a couple times I was like, "Oh no, that person's gonna die," or "Oh no," and then psych. But it was pretty good. I'll give it a 4.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 5 just because of how good like the acting blended really well with the action scenes that you got. Um, just all across the board. The actress for Fringilla was pretty spot on. She stayed like kind of evil and ominous and like was able to really sell it. And I just thought overall it was super good. I did think the ending there towards the end was a little questionable. I don't know if I necessarily liked Geralt's drugged up acting, but
Yeah,
but yeah, because of how good the acting was to complement the immense amount of action, I'm gonna give it a 5.
cool. All right, looks like we rated that one, put it pretty high. It was a not a bad finale.
Yep. And we all gave it 5 for visuals as well. The visuals were just
Yeah.
phenomenal. Fire, the magic that was happening, everything was good. So we got Rich's overall thoughts about the series. How about you? What'd you think of the TV show in general?
So I was a little reluctant to watch the show just because I did watch one of my friends play a few hours of Witcher 3 like back in the day, and I didn't dislike it, but I remember being like sort of bored. Maybe it's not a game that's meant to be watched necessarily. Um, so I knew that you were really into it, but for the show, I was like, okay, I'll give the show a chance, and ended up kind of liking it. And now I would sort of say I'm a low key casual Witcher fan, and like Rich, I want to play Witcher 3. I don't know when, but it's on the list.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And I'm excited for season 2, and I'll definitely be watching that when it comes out. So I don't think that the show is like Shakespearean or like the best thing I've ever seen or anything like that, but it's pretty good from start to finish for the most part.
Yeah, totally. I share pretty much the same thoughts, except I was a Witcher fan. I've been a Witcher fan for I don't know 4 years or so now, um, and yeah, I was very excited when this came out, and it pretty much hit all my expectations for it. I was not
Yeah.
expecting it to be that great because rarely are TV shows that great. I do think it's probably still not as good as like the first maybe 6 seasons of Game of Thrones. As a like season 1 of The Witcher is not as good as the collective 6 seasons of Game of Thrones. But it's certainly better than the specific seasons of Game of Thrones. Like maybe I think the 4th season was the one that was kind of bland, or maybe it was the 5th season.
5th season had the Sand Snakes, so
yeah. Yeah, my overall thoughts are all very positive. I'm looking forward to season 2, maybe season 3. We'll see how long this actually goes, since it's a relatively short series.
They haven't said how long it's going to be, right?
No, I imagine they're going to cover all the source material.
Yeah, one would think.
Yep, unless the stock market crashes Netflix, we'll see.
So you're the one that came up with this rating system. How are you calculating the final scores?
I was just doing averages across the board. I don't. I think we'll just do like a quick little.
Do you want to take like a minute break to figure it out?
It'll take more than a minute because there's a lot of numbers.
Okay. So how do you want to do it then?
Let me think on that. Maybe I think I'm going to maybe we will insert a segment right here where I am talking about the final scores.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So that was our live review of The Witcher. So now I think we have some a nice little British review from old Billy English.
Finally. Billy English. Nice.
And now, it's time we join an old friend once again. It's tea time with Bill.
Hi, and welcome to another Tea Time with Bill. Sorry I missed you guys last week, but I accidentally fell asleep when I should have been recording, as is sometimes the evils of trying to record late at night. So what have I been up to? So I've managed to finally finish Ulandra, and oh, what a game. I really, really enjoyed that. Can't wait to hear Rich's thoughts on it. Oh, what's that, Rich? Oh, okay. So anyway, next game, guys. Got to move on to Grandia 2, please. Grandia 2. So that's our next game on the list. It's available as part of the HD collection on Switch. And it's just, so it's easily available out there. You can get it on Steam and all that sort of bollocks. So go for it, guys. That's our next game that we're playing for the Golden Years. Also, don't forget, yesterday, or not for the patrons, but yesterday for the rest of the world, Materia Lockdown Year 2 started. So it's our second year of the Materia Lockdown. So guys, please get involved. I really want to see if we can beat last year's run total, which I believe was 86. And if we can beat last year's donations total of £330, I'll be absolutely over the moon. So yeah, guys, if you want to play Final Fantasy VII in a new, inventive way, check out at Materia Lockdown. Check out materialockdown.com or go to the Twitter bot at FF7MLD for more information. But yeah, check it all out, guys. Links will be in the description below as well. But this week we're here to talk about The Witcher. Yes, Jay, I'm finally going to get around to The Witcher, and I'm going to keep it as short as possible because I know you guys can't stand my droning voice. Bastards. Anyway, nah, it's all good. So, The Witcher. Oh, man. I have never consumed any Witcher media. So I was a bit like, I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know what it's going to be like. But I'll give it a try, And I was absolutely blown away. I loved it. Beginning to end, it was just a really good, fun fantasy adventure, romp. It was great. A lot of people online and stuff complained about the pacing of it. And I think that might have been people who'd actually consumed or played any of the Witcher games or read the books. But I really liked it. I thought when it got to like episode 4 or 5 or whatever it was, when suddenly you get the one with Geralt and he's in like the court and you see the Queen and Ciri's mother and all that sort of stuff. And you're like, oh, hang on a second. These stories aren't all happening at the same time. You suddenly realize that Geralt and the girls' stories happening at different points in time, and Geralt's stories are slowly catching up to Ciri's stories, and it's just like, yeah, that's pretty damn cool. And oh my god, how hot is the Hunchback lady? Like, I know she's hot after the transformation, but even as a Hunchback, yeah, god damn. But yeah, overall, I really, really enjoyed The Witcher. I thought it's been absolutely great. I love the interactions with Geralt and his roaming bards that comes with him everywhere. I think that's really funny. The song got stuck in my head for ages. Toss a coin to your Witcher. But overall, I just thought it was very, very good series. Henry Cavill was brilliant. I just can't wait for them to make more, to be honest with you. I'm going to let the guys go into it in a bit more depth. But yeah, I really enjoyed The Witcher. So yeah, you guys should check it out. And again, check out the Materia Lockdown if you fancy playing it this year. And yeah, Grandia 2 as well. Get ready, guys. Dive in.
Wow. So Bill is into hunchbacks. That's what I gathered from that.
I mean, do you blame him?
No, I can't. Should probably mention real quick that was recorded a couple weeks ago. So that's why he said the lockdown started yesterday.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute.
Yeah.
It's a good thing we split it up in two, or else we would have had a 4-hour long episode.
Right.
All right, so that was the full review of the Witcher TV series, our intro into TV ratings. We will absolutely do a nice little retro on how I decided to rate this, because it's very flawed and very time consuming. So in the future, we will probably not do it like this. If we ever decide to review some sort of non-game media, we will maybe think a little bit more ahead of time on how we exactly want to rate it.
Yeah, I think it was good, other than the fact, like you said, it was very time consuming.
Yep, absolutely. So that is it.
Yeah, Witcher is done.
The Witcher is done. Alrighty, so next week you can join us for hopefully a review of Pillars of Dust, which is a nice little indie game that we're collaborating with. What is it?
Maybe we should learn how to say their
Retreaux.
name before we
Retreaux
interview 'em.
Games. I think it's Retreaux. I think it's the publisher is well, God, I don't even know the publisher. I'm so bad. But yeah, that looks to be a fun little game. I think I'm gonna go install like a virtual box and find like an image of Windows so I can actually play the game through my Mac.
That's what I was going to suggest, if you could.
Yep. But outside of that, we would love your feedback. You can rate and review us on pretty much anything that you listen to podcasts on. We are always looking for feedback, especially since we are far from perfect. Rich and Bill being the farthest from perfect within our group.
I'm the
so if you you absolutely are. So yeah, rate, review, preferably positive things. If you have a bunch of negative things to say to us, you can send us that to maybe through Twitter. Don't blow us down.
Guys, please give us reviews. We said it before, we'll say it again. It's the best way to get the word out there about the podcast. So yeah, going into the plugs now. We got our Discord. People are in there all the time chatting up a storm. You can find the link to that in the show notes. It's also in our pinned tweet on our Twitter. You could email us feedback and questions and things you want us to talk about on the show at our email address, which is rpgafteryears@gmail.com. Guys, we are still running a Patreon. We would very much appreciate your support. It helps us out a lot. Again, some great benefits. We got early episode access, ad-free episodes. You can participate live in the video version of the show. We are streaming right now. We've got Aftercast that's already out there. We're going to have more bonus episodes, more bonus content. Like I said, we're going to do another review. So yeah, go check us all out there. There's plenty of great content. I think it's worth the money we ask for it. And we do, once again, appreciate everybody's support. Which brings us to Twitter.
So you can find the show at RPG Years. You can find me at JAY Hizzle. You can find Rich at HailBlue1569.
And you can find me at the Scott Spot.
And then, of course, Matunica, which is Bill, at Matunica, METUNNICA. So we hope everybody enjoyed our very extended look at the Witcher TV series. A pretty grueling couple of episodes because of a less than fun rating system that required me to ask you guys way too many questions. But we did it. And we will catch up to you next week with our hopefully first indie RPG review, Pillars of Dust. Until then, I'm Jay.
I'm Scott.
And I'm Rich. See everybody next week for episode 8.
Bye.
The beast has been slain. The world has been saved. Our heroes are basking in the after years. They rest in the tavern for all to hear the tale of how they banish their fear. Revel in the peace that reigns through the land. All will know it was by our heroes' hands. Here in the after years. Here in the RPG after years. Here in the RPG after years.
Nice. We made it through.